I never thought a simple shower could turn into one of the scariest moments of my life. It was a normal evening. I had just come back from college, tired and craving nothing more than a hot shower to shake off the day. The house was quiet. My parents were out for the night, and I thought I had the place to myself. I locked the door like I always do, tossed my clothes aside, and stepped into the steam. Everything felt calm, until I noticed something strange. At first, it was just a feeling like I wasn't alone. You know when your instincts kick in, and you suddenly feel eyes on you? That's exactly what happened. I wiped the fog off the glass and looked around, convincing myself it was nothing. But then I saw it, a shadow. Faint, unmoving, and right outside the bathroom door. My heart dropped. I froze. I knew I had locked the door, but somehow, in that moment, it didn't feel like enough. I stayed still, trying to listen past the sound of running water, but everything outside was dead silent. I didn't want to believe it, but every inch of my body screamed that someone was there, watching. This is the true story of how I discovered that being home alone doesn't always mean you're actually alone. And trust me, what I saw when I opened that door still haunts me to this day. I stayed frozen under the stream of hot water, barely breathing, my eyes fixed on the blurry shape outside the frosted glass. Maybe it was just a shadow from the hallway. Light, I told myself. Maybe I forgot to turn something off. I was trying to make sense of it, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I quickly shut off the water and wrapped a towel around myself, my hand shaking. The air felt colder now, heavier, like it was closing in around me. I stepped out slowly, careful not to make a sound. The bathroom light buzzed softly overhead, but everything else was still. I listened for footsteps, breathing, anything but. It was completely quiet, that kind of silence that feels unnatural. I grabbed my phone off the counter, but the screen was black, dead battery. Of course I crept toward the door and placed my ear against it. Nothing. I slowly turned the lock and opened it just a crack. My hallway looked normal, too normal, but something felt off. My bedroom door, which I had left wide open, was now slightly shut. That door never moved on its own. My heart was pounding in my ears as I reached for it. Each step felt heavier. I hadn't even dried off yet, but I couldn't focus on anything except that door. Someone had been there, or maybe they still were, and if they were inside, how had they gotten in without a sound? I stood there for a moment, staring at the crack in my bedroom door, trying to decide if I should open it or just run outside, but something about the silence kept me frozen. I pushed the door gently, and it creaked open, just enough for me to peek inside. The room was dim, lit only by the faint glow of my computer screen, which I was sure I had turned off earlier. I scanned the space, slowly, my eyes darting to every corner. Everything seemed untouched until I noticed my closet door was now open halfway. I hadn't opened that since the weekend. My throat went dry. A part of me wanted to believe this was just paranoia. Maybe I had forgotten to close the closet earlier. Maybe I was just being dramatic. But I couldn't ignore how wrong everything felt. I grabbed a metal flashlight from my desk drawer, gripping it tight as I walked toward the closet. My hands were still damp and trembling. Before I could pull the door open, I heard a soft click behind me, the sound of a door closing. I spun around, but no one was there. The bathroom light was off now. I never turned it off. It was like someone was messing with me, staying just out of sight. My mind raced. Was this someone I knew, a stranger? Or was I losing it completely? I hadn't told anyone, but for the past few nights, I had this feeling like someone had been following me home. I stared into the darkness of the open closet, my flashlight trembling in my hand. Every nerve in my body told me to run, but something stronger kept me frozen, the need to know. I slowly raised the flashlight and aimed the beam inside. Empty, just clothes hanging quietly. But then I noticed something on the floor, a smudge, like a footprint, bare, slightly wet, fresh. My breath caught in my throat. I stepped back, trying to think clearly. I hadn't heard the front door open. I hadn't heard a single sound except that bathroom light clicking off. Whoever was in the house was still inside and they were moving without a trace. I backed into the hallway, my eyes flicking toward the stairwell. If they had gotten in, they could be anywhere. I needed to get out and call someone, anyone. As I reached the front door, I stopped dead. The chain lock was hooked. I never used that lock. I always just used the deadbolt. That meant one thing: they didn't come in through the front. They were already here. Suddenly something crashed upstairs. A loud thud like furniture being knocked over. I jumped, heart racing. I had to make a decision: run for it, or go check. But before I could move, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming down the stairs. The sound of bare feet on wood. I held my breath, backing toward the kitchen, gripping the flashlight like a weapon. I wasn't alone, and whoever it was, they didn't want to be seen. I stayed completely still, barely able to think. That whisper, soft but deliberate, was meant for me. Whoever said it knew I was there. My mind was spinning. How could someone be in my house, waiting, as if they knew my exact schedule? Nothing made sense. I didn't even know if I should stay hidden or run. But before I could decide, something slid across the floor near me. I glanced over and saw it, a folded piece of paper. My name was written on it. I reached out slowly, careful not to make a sound, and picked it up. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely unfold it. Inside, written in neat handwriting, were just 5 words. Asterisk, asterisk, don't scream, don't look up. Asterisk, asterisk. My heart thudded against my ribs. I didn't want to believe it, but I could feel it. Someone was right behind me, just standing there. I clenched the flashlight tighter, trying to stay calm. Every instinct was screaming to run, to scream, to fight. But that note, it felt like a warning, not a threat. And that made things worse. Because whoever wrote it wasn't trying to scare me, they were trying to control me. Then I heard the tiniest sound breathing. Shallow, not mine. Directly above, I finally gave in to the panic and swung around with the flashlight, aiming high. Nothing, just shadows. But the whisper came again, closer this time. Asterisk, asterisk, it's almost time. Asterisk, asterisk. This wasn't just a break-in, it was a setup, and I had walked right into it. I couldn't take it anymore. I lunged forward, swinging the flashlight wildly, crashing through the kitchen in a full panic. Chairs toppled, drawers slammed shut behind me. Nothing mattered but getting out. I reached the back door and yanked it open, praying it wasn't locked. It wasn't. I bolted into the night, barefoot and dripping wet, my towel half falling off as I ran across the yard. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I made it to the neighbor's porch and pounded on the door like my life depended on it, because it did. Mr. Harris, the old man who always watered his plants at exactly 5 p.m., opened up, shocked to see me in that state. I couldn't even speak right away, just pointed back at my house, shaken, trying to breathe. He called the police while I sat on the steps, trying to explain what happened. The officers arrived fast and swept the house. No one was there. No footprints, no signs of forced entry, nothing out of place. Even the chain lock, gone like it was never hooked at all. That's when they asked me a strange question. Asterisk, are you sure you weren't dreaming? I couldn't believe it. They didn't find the note. They didn't find the shadow, the voice, nothing. But I knew what I saw, what I heard. I wasn't crazy. That night, I stayed with my aunt across town. The next morning, when I returned home with my dad, we found something on my pillow, my phone, fully charged, and on the screen was a video. Footage of me, in the shower, from inside the bathroom. I stared at the phone screen, unable to move. The video played on a loop, shaky handheld footage of me, completely unaware, washing my hair, while someone stood just a few feet away. You could even hear the faint sound of their breathing. My dad snatched the phone from my hands and immediately called the police again. This time, they took it seriously. They searched the house top to bottom. Eventually, tucked inside the ceiling vent above the bathroom, they found a small hidden camera, wired to a battery pack, along with a tiny Bluetooth device. It had been installed weeks ago. Turns out, someone had broken in before, probably when I wasn't home, and planted everything. That's how they were able to turn the light off, trigger the computer, even track when I was inside the house. The scary part. There were no fingerprints, no real leads, just a feeling that whoever did this was patient and smart. After that, we installed security cameras, changed all the locks, and I stopped staying home alone. The police still have the footage and the device, but they haven't found the person behind it. Maybe they never will. But I've learned something important through all of this. Sometimes you don't know you're being watched until it's too late. Now, every time I take a shower, I can't help but check the vents, the corners, the door, because the scariest part wasn't being watched. It was knowing someone planned it all, and they're still out there.